I want to establish something right away, just so you know
boy.
this right away. No, I'm different than all the other media guys you'll talk to. I played the game.
Okay, so you know what's going on out there.
4th, 5th, and 6th grade.
Oh.
At a high level.
I played both sides of the ball. I was a fierce pass rushing, rocket Gibraltar run stopping defensive lineman and a precise route running, sure-handed pass catching tight end. So when you talk football, you're talking about a guy who's a baller.
So you were the 70-pound DN.
That's it.
That just run around the edge every time and stop the sweeps.
Which I think you and I have a lot in common because you're from Corona, California. You played for Centennial High, and when you played, you were considered undersized at first and didn't start until your junior year. I was considered undersized too, and I still am.
You didn't start till 6th grade.
Yeah, that's right. So good to see you.
Have a lot in common.
Yeah, it's good to see how things go out there today the last couple
of
days.
Yeah, it was fun being able to actually go against somebody else and not see our own teammates. So it was a lot more fun to be able to unleash the defense against somebody else because obviously going against our own defense every day or our own offense, they're able to kind of get used to some of the things that we're doing. So every day was a chess match. Okay, they've seen this coverage yesterday in this disguise, so now they know how to play against it. So we were able to test it out against a different offense and really see how it'll work in real time. So it was fun to be able to see that.
Chip Scoggins is a columnist for the Star Tribune. He did a piece today on the new defense. You were quoted in the story a couple of different times, and you said with this new a defense under B-Flow, it's he likes to say aggressive without being reckless. You seem to really like it. The things you said in the paper today, you like the style and what it affords a player to do.
Right. It lets us be aggressive and really, let's see, we have a lot of pressure. So if we know the quarterback is getting the ball out quick, now we could play a lot more aggressive in the secondary. And we have a lot of blitzes in the secondary. We have a lot of ways to make adjustments. If we see something we don't like on the back end, we have all freedom to make a check within the defense. So it's kind of like a free defense. Coach likes to say it's your guys' defense, it's not mine. So he gives us a lot of tools to be able to use different things because he knows we have a lot of experienced players on the defense. So if we see something we don't like, we're able to check out of it and make certain adjustments within the lines of the defense.
When the Vikings now have had a new offensive coordinator, it seems like every year for the past 4, 5, 6 years, right. and the offensive players, especially the quarterbacks, say it's different language, different system. It's really difficult to do. With a new defensive coordinator, the last couple of years now going on, with going from Donatel to B-Flow. Is it the same? Is it as difficult as offense is to change from one to one? Is defense maybe a little more, I don't want to say simplistic, but not as much as complicated? Is it hard to make that change?
I wouldn't say it's hard because for me, let's say this is my third defense, my third year being in the league because I had Coach Zim, then had Coach Ed last year, and now B-Flow. So I feel like it gets easier and easier having to learn a new defense every single year because you're able to know, okay, this is still cover 3, this is still cover 2, cover 4, or man. So you really realize, okay, how are we going to change these coverages and make little adjustments? Okay, this is different than Zim, or this is exactly how we played it in Zim's system. So being able to compare it to old systems that I've been in makes it a lot easier to learn because all you have to do is just change the verbiage. And because football is still football. Right. So you're cover 3, you're still going to have 4 under, 3 deep. If you blitz somebody, now you know, okay, we have the ball coming out a little quicker, so now we have less underneath droppers. So little small things like that makes it easier to learn because all you have to do is compare it to something else. But every defense I've been in, we've played it different. So that's the main memorization that you have to do. Okay, how is this going to be different than how we played it before?
Talking to Cam Bynum, again, you mentioned it's nice to see someone else to go against in practice besides your own offense. You got Tennessee this week, you got the preseason game Saturday night, then it's kind of duplicated next week with Arizona coming to town. But most of the starters aren't going to play at all the preseason games. From your perspective, how difficult is it to go, let's say, almost from 0 to 100 when you open against Tampa Bay, where you have to be on your game 100% without having those reps in the preseason?
I wouldn't say it's very difficult because of the way they engineer our practices.
Okay.
So with the joint practices, we know that it's super physical. It's a lot of reps. And really the only difference is tackling to the ground. So we're thudding up, we're getting our body on the ball carrier to simulate and making an actual tackle. Only difference, we're not taking them to the ground. So it's a good way to keep everybody. Yeah, and it's a good way to keep everybody healthy. So because the most important thing is to go into game 1 feeling 100%. And obviously the reps are good. So I played, I think, 9 snaps in the first preseason game this season.
Right.
It was good to be able to get out there and feel it, but when you never want to risk somebody's health just for the field when you can get it out of practice. And if you practice the right way, I think the transition from practice to a game isn't much of a difference. And really, a lot of people played a lot of football, so you're kind of used to it at this point.
We always hear about chemistry between the offensive line as a unit and quarterback with wide receiver. Don't never really hear about like safety and cornerback. Is chemistry and knowing each other's roles important? And I ask that because you guys have a bunch of new faces at the cornerback position.
Yeah, it's for sure important because you still have to do that nonverbal communication. Like if it's a hurry-up situation, for instance, and I have to just make eye contact with my corner, and he knows, okay, I'm doing this, you're doing this, or disguise. Like for me, my rookie year, when I first started getting reps with Harry in practice, obviously I didn't have the chemistry with him, so he'd be disguising something. I'm thinking he's busting a coverage, and it's like, no, that's just Harry over there being a smart vet and showing something else on the defense. So over the time, you get more chemistry. You're able to understand how certain people play around you, and you're able to play more free because you know that they're going to be there and they know that I'm going to be here, so we can really play hard on our responsibilities.
Well, you brought up Harry, and I'm glad you did because I wanted to ask you about him. I think he's going into a year 10, 11, 12, and there's always when guys are that been that long in the league, there's always that looks like he's lost a half a step. Maybe he doesn't have as much anymore. Do guys lose a half a step as they get older, like Harry? And if he does he make up for it with, experience, cunning, guile, that whole thing? Or hasn't he really lost a step? Is that just something they say about players because it's kind of a cliche? Well, he's 10 years in the league. He's got to be slow.
Yeah, you say that about the athletic player that's playing all off of athleticism and no smarts. So somebody like Harry, you rarely have to see him run full speed. You rarely have to see him do anything crazy athletic-wise, just because he's an above-the-neck player and he plays so smart. So he gets better every single season. Last year, 5 picks, and still playing at a high level, and he's going into year 12 now. He keeps getting better and better just because of the way he plays the game, and he plays the game the right way with good technique and really knowing football. And you say that about people losing a step when their game is all athleticism. So if you get one injury and you're a step slower, you lost a half a step. And that's the common thing to say about somebody. But if it's not a player that just plays off of all athleticism, it's like, okay, time you only get better because you're smarter and you know the game more and more every single year. So that's Harry's case. He gets better every single season.
I think of a young player like Lewis Seen, who unfortunately broke his leg, whatever, had a gruesome injury in London last year, and you watching him coming back here and coming back when he's isolated from the team all year long. What have you picked up from Lewis and his mindset right now and his desire to fulfill his lifelong dream of playing in the NFL and being a contributor to this football team?
Yeah, I think he saw it as he didn't see his injury as a way as an excuse or anything. He came back knowing, okay, that happened, but oh well, it's time to move on. It's time to get better. And I know he doesn't play like he had an injury. He doesn't play like he looks just as explosive as he was, and he's still grinding super hard out there as if nothing ever happened. So that's one thing I respect about him. He doesn't let that crazy of an injury bring him down mentally or even physically. He's still the player he was, and still, as you can see, he still can move, still can change direction. So that's
some young
super
players
big
back
respect
there.
to him. Yeah, he was able to bounce back from that and still be mentally and physically good.
Our guest here at training camp is Viking safety Cam Bynum, and I'm going to ask you I'm going to ask you a question with the obvious answer, I think, but having to, in practice, every practice, to go up against the likes of Justin Jefferson, arguably the best wide receiver in pro football, has to benefit you, making you a better player. Has to, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think really our whole receiver core, being able to go against them every single day in practice, and especially JJ, that's the best you'll see all season. So if you're able to go against someone like him every single day, and that's your standard of, okay, did I win this rep, did I lose? If I'm winning reps against him, or if anybody on the team is winning reps against him, it's kind of just like, okay, I can go against anybody now. The defense can go against anybody. And even guys like KJ, Rager, J.A., like we have and TJ obviously at the tight end position, we have a lot of dogs on the offense, so it makes game day a lot easier.
We're kind of far away, so we didn't get to personally see it, but we read that JJ was chirping with Simmons for the other team. in a situation like this, was there a lot of chirping between your secondary and the Titans wide receivers? I know DeAndre Hopkins has been caught to have a big mouth before. Was there any chirping back and forth out there?
There was, especially towards the end of practices when both teams are watching and the sidelines are going back and forth. So that makes it fun. There's not a lot of fights. I don't think we had any big fights or anything, and so we were able to let all the talking be done on the field and competing the right way. But there's for sure a lot of chirping and a lot of just competitive energy out there, which is needed. But we were able to do it in a clean way where there's no punches thrown, where people are getting tossed out of practice, where everybody was able to get their work. So it was fun to be in the environment where people were talking trash, but being able to back it up on the field.
Well, I'm sure the object of that, particularly in a game, is to try to get a guy off his game a little bit, get in his head, right? Does that ever affect you? Or are you able to just, to blow that off and just say, I know what you're up to. It doesn't matter. In fact, it makes me inspires me and makes me play a little bit better.
It makes the game a lot more fun.
Yeah,
when people are talking, if you're talking yourself, you got to back it up. So if you're a trash talker, you got to back it up yourself. So it makes it even more fun because not everybody's competitive juices are flowing because somebody's talking to you. You're not gonna go down. You're gonna go down swinging.
Right,
you're not gonna just lay down.
California kid adjusted to life in Minnesota, especially in the wintertime.
Yeah. It's been rough. It's been rough, but I'm in my third year now, so I kind of got used to it. My rookie year was the biggest struggle, figuring out that cotton sweats don't work. I don't care how big the jacket is. If it's cotton, it's not working.
Not going to work. Down. You down.
Yeah.
How's driving? You adjust to driving in the winter weather and the snow?
Thankfully, yeah, I was smart and bought a Jeep, so I was able to survive.
There you go.
Put some snow tires on it, so I was able to survive with the 4x4, but I slid out one time and hit ice, and thankfully it was in a parking lot. But I still went up the curb and hit the bushes, and everybody's looking at me crazy. And I was like, "Oh my
Welcome
bad."
to Minnesota.
Yeah, it was bad, but I was able to adjust, and I enjoy it now because I'm a Christmas guy.
Okay.
So the Christmas vibes are like multiplied because it's 90 degrees some years on Christmas in California, so it's way better out here.
The airbag didn't deploy in your Jeep, did it, when you hit the curb?
Thankfully, thank God.
So
do you do the Jeep wave to other people that own a Jeep?
Do you do the Jeep wave?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The two fingers. I'd be disappointed when I miss it and the Jeep drives by and I forget. I stick my hand out the window like, sorry.
When I first had a Jeep, people would wave, and I thought it was silly. Then I started doing it. Then I would get mad if they didn't wave back.
I'd be like, you're weird. You're weird. You don't do it. You're weird.
Now, do you find little rubber ducks
on my car?
On your car?
I have 3 in my car now.
No kidding.
You know the rubber duck thing?
I don't know the rubber duck thing.
Tell them the rubber duck thing.
Every Jeep owner you're supposed to have a few rubber ducks, and you get one when you buy a Jeep. And if you see a Jeep, it's called Duck Duck Jeep. And so you give them your rubber duck, or vice versa.
What?
In a parking lot, you'll just be sitting
crazy.
there, and there's a new duck on your thing.
For 5-year-olds or what?
I know, it's pretty childish. But I embrace the Jeep community because I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Well, that's it. My boy's got a Jeep now, and I saw these ducks, and he explained it to me because I
no
didn't
idea.
get any ducks when I was driving my Jeep, but his Jeep, are you 2-door or 4-door?
4-door.
Because he likes the 2-door. He's got the smaller one.
It's
really
too small for me.
You found some favorite restaurants you like in town?
I get Chipotle every single day.
Chipotle?
Nice.
Surprisingly, Applebee's. It's a very out-of-the-box restaurant to eat at a lot, but they do car side where they just bring you your food to your car.
There you go.
So when I'm lazy, I just call my food in, and they'll bring it out to the car.
Chipotle and Applebee's, Ocean Air and Manny's for you.
Same thing. Same thing, basically.
You have to be amazed by that.
Did I see you, according to Wikipedia, you got married in the Philippines?
Yes.
What was that experience like?
Best thing ever. All my family was able to come, so we had like 25 people come from the States to all go out to the Philippines, and we were able to have our wedding and then do a fundraiser and outreach to help the typhoon victims out there as our honeymoon the day after our wedding. So it was really, really fun to be able to have all my people there in a different country getting married there. So my family being able to meet her family and all my friends able to go out there for the first time and able to really go serve people and help the typhoon victims with all the money we've raised in the over season. So it was really fun.
Thanks for sharing your time with us. Appreciate
thank
that.
You for having me.
And you've had a great career to this point. Continued success to you,
sir.
and good luck to you in the Vikings this season.
Yep, thank you for having me.
Appreciate it, Cam.
You bet.